Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us here today. My name is Tiana Victorino, and I'm the Public Information Officer for the Kauaʻi Police Department. Today, we'll be providing a briefing regarding the investigation and arrest of William Billy Sinclair, a fugitive wanted in connection with an active investigation. Behind me are Mayor Derek S.K. Kawakami, County of Kauaʻi, Chief Rudy Tai, Kauaʻi Police Department, Assistant Chief Darren Rose, Kauaʻi Police Department, Assistant Chief Christopher Gondeza, Division of Conservation and Resources Enforcement, Hawaii Department of Land and Natural Resources. We'll begin with brief statements from our leadership, and then we'll get to open the floor to questions. So just a quick note on questions before we begin. We'll be taking questions one at a time, so one question per turn, and this will just help us to get to as many questions as possible. And with that, I'd like to invite Chief Rudy Tai to give us an overview of the investigation. Chief Tai.
Thank you, Gianna. Thank you. I want to thank our media partners for being here today. I am Kauaʻi Chief of Police Rudy Tai. Before providing any details, I want to extend my deepest condolences to the family of the victim in this case. Our thoughts and prayers are with them during this difficult time. We will not be revealing the victim's name because we are still in the process of notifying their family. But what I can tell you is the victim is a 37-year-old male that resides in Kilauea. Our suspect is William Billy Robert Sinclair, 51-year-old male that also resides in Kilauea. He was identified as a person of interest in connection with this investigation. He was taken into custody this morning following coordinated law enforcement efforts across multiple locations. He was safely apprehended without incident. The apprehension of Sinclair concludes a multi-day island-wide search effort and represents an important step in the ongoing investigation and in bringing accountability for the victim and his family. I would like to express my appreciation to our community and to all of our partner agencies who assisted during this operation, including the Kauaʻi Police Department, the Kauaʻi Fire Department, Hawaii Department of Law Enforcement, Federal Bureau of Investigation, United States Marshal Service, and the Hawaii Island Police Department, along with the Office of Prosecuting Attorney. All of these entities supporting us with our personnel. Their coordinated efforts were critical in the safe resolution of this incident. I also wanted to thank the men and women of the Kauaʻi Police Department. They showed professionalism, dedication, and courage during this ongoing investigation, which lasted over 50 hours. It went from a homicide investigation to a manhunt, and they pretty much shook every tree. We utilized all of our resources available out there, and every personnel that was available to be out there to help support and search showed up. I also wanted to thank our community for their vigilance, for their support throughout this investigation. Public safety is our top priority. Wanted to also thank the communities that were really impacted by it. Hanalei, Kilauea, and Kapa'a. We made sure that we had our officers and our resources there to make sure it was a safe environment throughout this search. The investigation remains active and ongoing, and additional updates will be provided as appropriate. At this time, we're going to have Assistant Chief Darren Rose come and provide a detailed incident account. Darren.
Thank you, Chief. Aloha. I'm Assistant Chief Darren Rose of the Kauaʻi Police Department. I'll be providing an overview of key developments and investigation that led to the arrest of William Billy Sinclair. Before I begin, I'd like to thank our partner agencies, our officers, and the community for their support during this multi-day, multi-location operation. Their assistance was critical to the safe resolution of this incident. This was truly an all-hands-on-deck effort. This morning, William Billy Sinclair, 51 years old, of Kilauea, who was wanted in connection with an active homicide investigation, was taken into custody following a series of law enforcement responses, search efforts across multi-areas of the island. This investigation began in the early morning hours of June 6, 2026, when officers responded to a report of a suspicious death in the Hanalei area at approximately 12:50 a.m. This incident was subsequently classified as a homicide. The victim was a 37-year-old male resident of Kilauea who was found deceased at his place of employment in Honolulu. Next of kin notification is pending. The investigation determined that his death was the result of a homicide. Through the course of the investigation, detectives developed information indicating that the victim and Sinclair had been involved in an ongoing financial dispute. Based on information gathered during the investigation, Sinclair was identified as a person of interest. At the initial Honolulu scene, as the initial Honolulu scene was still being processed, officers received multiple reports of gunfire at a residence associated with Sinclair in the Kilauea area. Officers responded, made contact with Sinclair's significant other at the residence. During the course of the response, Sinclair was observed in the driveway of the residence in a possession of what appeared to be a rifle. Officers were unable to establish contact with him at that time as he re-entered the residence. Nearby residents were secured, and the residents in the immediate area were evacuated as a precaution. Officers then conducted a methodical search of the residence. However, Sinclair was not located at that time. It was later reported that during the early morning hours, a separate individual sustained non-life-threatening injury consistent with grazing gunshot wound. Through the course of the investigation, Sinclair was identified as a person of interest in both incidents. Over the following days, the Kauaʻi Police Department, along with assisting personnel and partner agencies, conducted ongoing investigation and search operations as additional information was developed. The next day, on June 7th, officers received information that Sinclair had made contact with a family member. Preliminary information revealed that the interaction was reported as non-threatening with no weapons involved and no threats were made. Sinclair was reported to have requested the use of a phone before leaving the area. That evening, officers responded to a report of a motorcycle matching the one Sinclair was last seen operating at the Kauaʻi skate park. Officers confirmed the motorcycle belonged to Sinclair and seized it as evidence. A follow-up search efforts were conducted in the park and in the surrounding area after additional information indicated that Sinclair fled on foot. This morning, June 8th, officers located an individual matching Sinclair's description near the Kauaʻi Public Library. A fur pursuit ensued, during which Sinclair entered the ocean. Officers maintained contact with Sinclair. With assistance from KPD's crisis negotiators, they were able to negotiate his peaceful surrender before taking him into custody without incident. Sinclair was taken into custody for second-degree murder and second-degree attempted murder. The apprehension of Sinclair concludes a multi-day, multi-location search effort across the island and is an important step in ongoing investigation and bringing accountability for the victim and their family. I would like to take this opportunity to thank the men and women of the Kauaʻi Police Department, our assisting partners, and the community for their vigilance and support during this investigation. The investigation remains active, ongoing, and additional updates will be provided when appropriate. Mahalo. I'll turn it over to Malcolm.
First and foremost, we know this incident caused a great deal of concern, fear, and frustration for many members of our community. We understand that people wanted information as quickly as possible, and we recognize how unsettling this situation was for residents across our island. While there was a strong desire for updates throughout the search, law enforcement also had the responsibility of protecting the integrity of an active investigation. Today we are grateful that William Billy Sinclair has been apprehended and is in custody. We are relieved that this situation was resolved without further injury to members of the public or law enforcement personnel. We want to extend our sincerest appreciation to the men and women of the Kauaʻi Police Department. This was a complex investigation and search effort that required personnel from across the department, including patrol, Criminal Investigation Division, Vice, the Special Response Team, Communications and Support Services personnel, drone operators, negotiators, and many others who work behind the scenes, and let's not forget our dispatchers as well. Their dedication and professionalism was instrumental in bringing this matter to a safe resolution. We also want to thank the Hawaii Department of Law Enforcement, the FBI, the United States Marshals Service, the Office of the Prosecuting Attorney, and the Kauaʻi Fire Department for their partnership and support. We also want to thank our residents for their patience, vigilance, and cooperation during this difficult time. The concern we saw across our community reflects how deeply people care about one another, and that spirit helped carry us through this challenging situation. While today's apprehension is an important development, we must not lose sight of the fact that this investigation began with the tragic loss of a member of our community. On behalf of the County of Kauaʻi, we want to extend our deepest condolences to the victim's family, friends, coworkers, and loved ones. Our thoughts remain with them as they navigate an unimaginable loss. Public safety remains our highest priority. Mahalo to everyone who contributed to bringing this matter to a safe resolution. And mahalo to our community for coming together during a difficult and uncertain time. Thank you very much.
So at this time, we'll open up the floor to any questions. Dylan?
Thank you guys so much for having this press conference. A lot of people are curious for both of the locations, the Kilauea residence and the skate park. He was able to escape and at the skate park on foot. How did that happen? And was the home surrounded in Kilauea? How did he manage to get out from both of those scenes?
We had information that the suspect was there. A perimeter was set up around the area, believing that he was there. As we went through a methodical search, we realized towards the end he probably snuck out to the back.
Before
Yeah.
the perimeter was
Right. Unfortunately, we tried to lock down the scene as quick as we can. That was a difficult location to set up a perimeter on certain areas because of the neighboring residents, but we tried our best.
Police said he was armed and dangerous. Do you know if he had a weapon with him while he was on the run?
When he was on the run, we heard information, but it's hard because we can't see anything. At one time, he had a rifle, so that's what we were looking for. Because you can't hide a rifle, you would have to sling it on your back, or and he was riding a motorcycle. The pictures that we saw, the video that we saw, we did not see him with a rifle. In the apprehension today, he did have a weapon in his jacket that was found in the water.
What kind of weapon was it?
It was a handgun.
What is your message to residents who feel they were not informed quickly enough that a murder suspect was at large, potentially putting the public at risk?
It wasn't, our intention was always to try to get that information out. I think it's challenging sometimes because we're in the hunt at the same time, and our goal is trying to apprehend this individual as quick as we can. There are times where we're so focused on certain things that we may be a little late, but our goal is to always apprehend this individual and get that information out as quick as possible. I think as we move forward, we're going to make a conscious effort to do that.
Why did you guys decide to use Facebook as your method of informing the public?
We just felt that was a quick way to get it out. Our press conference, press release came out right after that, but we were talking to a lot of people out in the street, and they were watching Facebook. We were watching comments.
Can you confirm the body of the victim was found at Frederico's restaurant? Is that where the victim was found?
You want to next one?
Out of respect right now for the owners of the establishment, we're not going to reveal the location.
Can you tell us what happened during the 12 hours the road was closed in Kilauea on Saturday? Why was it closed for 12 hours?
Say again,
The
please.
road on Kilauea, why was it closed for 12 hours on Saturday?
Why was it closed?
Correct.
We were doing a methodical search of the location. When you look at this place, there was no water, no electricity. It was really uninhabitable, and there was a lot of debris everywhere. So it took us some time to actually go through the actual residence piece by piece. We did find a number of weapons. There's safes in there, ammunition everywhere. So it took some time.
Did you have communication with him during that time?
Communication with who?
With the suspect?
No.
You folks mentioned that there was an apparent financial dispute between the victim and the suspect. Do you folks know if that was maybe tied to some sort of illegal gambling or other drugs, probably? Any indication of what the financial dispute was about?
Not to jeopardize the investigation, not going to go into details on what the dispute was about, but it was not over drugs or anything criminal.
A lot of the residents we spoke to were, nervous and shocked over something like this happening here on Kauaʻi. Can you guys talk about that? Just the fact that this is a small island and how crazy stuff like this is now.
Yeah, it's really hard to predict where crime's going to occur, right? We just want to make sure that our officers are trained up and ready to respond. It's important that our community believes in us and trusts us in what we do, but we have to get some type of information if crimes are occurring. So I think as we move forward, we're going to be better at getting information out there. I think it's going to be helpful for us. No one expects to have this type of crime occurring on this island. Nobody does that. And sometimes you just can't predict it. But I can tell you our officers are professional, they're trained. When something like this comes about, we will take swift action and deal with it.
I know it's early, but is there anything you would do differently to how anything played out?
Say again?
I know it's early, but is there anything you would do differently?
I would like to sit down with our whole command staff and kind of go through the whole process. Like I said, we had an attempt homicide like the day before that we were dealing with, and we captured that individual. And sometimes when you deploy so much resources and another one comes about, it becomes a little bit challenging. So we're going to regroup and look at things and see how we can be more efficient for sure.
What can you tell us about the suspect's previous records? Any TROs active against him, criminal history?
We're still reviewing all that. From understanding, there is some active TROs here on island, potentially with his neighbors. He has no criminal history in the state of Hawaii, but he does have an extensive criminal history out of the state of California, and he is a convicted felon.
Do you know what that conviction was for, or his in California?
I know there's firearms and robbery charges, but I'm not sure which one resulted in actual conviction.
One more question. The person who was grazed by the bullet, what's the relation between the suspect and that person?
We're still trying to sort through that. That individual is familiar with Sinclair, and he was parked on Kilauea Street, and I think it's Como Road, and he was at the stop sign, and he identified that the shots came from Sinclair's residence, and he's familiar with Sinclair.
Do you have status of that person?
He's been treated and released from the hospital.
And this concludes today's press conference. More information will be provided as it becomes available. Thank you all for being here today.